And we are the Coalition. And we are the Coalition, loud and proud, outrage porn free, civilly disobedient media, broadcasting live on the worldwide Coalition Radio Network at coalitionradionetwork.com, facebook.com/the Coalition Radio, on the mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio. Well, as you saw by our opening montage, we've got a special event to talk about and a new friend. We want to thank Brood Awakenings, if you will, for their support of our undertakings here at the Coalition Radio Network. They've got a wonderful facility at 100 Westminster Street, in addition to shops around the state. And 100 Westminster Street is going to be the home soon for a new undertaking called Breakfast at Brood, where on Thursday mornings we'll have a nosh, as they say where I'm from, a coffee, a tea, and maybe a bagel or something, and about a 20-minute or 25-minute conversation about events surrounding the down city. La Prave, the naked city, the city of 1,000 stories. And so we're looking forward to that. So we want to thank them for joining Yacht Club in supporting the efforts of the Coalition Radio Network. Well, joining us tonight is an old friend who we've kind of kept in touch with over the miracle of social media in IP addresses, but at the same time, between the Rona and life, we've kind of missed each other, if you will. Steve Mayshall is with us. By day, he is a mild-mannered sales professional in the media world. By night, he is a superpower, if you will, dedicated towards ending hunger, while simultaneously engaging in, the kind of civil, if you will, volunteerism that is really one of the things that makes Rhode Island amazing. And yet on top of all of that, he's used his superpowers to bring both together in an amazing, I think, a series of events. They're called River Fire. No, not the other thing. They're called River Fire, and he's going to tell us all about it tonight. Steve, welcome to the Coalition. It's been a few years since you've been on, but what a great way to kick this stuff back off. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Pat. Thanks for having me. And great timing. Got some fun things going on.
Absolutely. So I know there's this pale imitation of River Fire taking place somewhere in Providence. I don't know. It's whatever. It's kind of sad that they had to rip you guys off. But he talked to us, if you will. River Fire, folks, if you didn't see the pre-show publicity, is a weekly event happening Thursday evenings in, I'll call it the greater Wakefield, Peacedale metropolitan area, which is really the heart, if you will, and soul of a good chunk of South County. And it's by all video. I'm going to get down there either this week or next week. And by all accounts, you've got this beautiful video that we ran at the beginning. You've got music. You've got local merchants, artisans. You've got the beauty of the river, if you will, set on fire. In just a remarkable setting. And on top of that, you've got the notion that this is being driven, if you will, in part by not only just a desire to show off the wonderful merchants, wonderful community that is Wakefield, Peacedale, that entire little network of burbs and villages in South County, but you've also got a serious effort at ending hunger. How did River Fire start? I know this is certainly not its first year, but what was the if you will, the impetus, and how did you manage to bring all these different aspects into one event, one series of events?
Well, where do I start? I got involved about 7 years ago. They had already done a couple of River Fires previous to that. Little hit or miss, maybe skipping a year or so. The head of the Wakefield Village Association was the dearly departed Chick Gravitz from the karate studio down in Wakefield. and also Chris Simpson from the Contemporary Theater down there. They just do amazing work on a shoestring budget or no budget whatsoever. Then they decided to get it going again. Typical nonprofit, minimum budget or less than zero budget.
Mm-hmm.
But I work with the local paper down there. I volunteered with the Wakefield Village Association. So they were wondering, how can they bring quality entertainment to the event on the shoestring budget? And they knew I was heavily involved with music and hunger and those issues, and the whole room kind of turns to me and asks me, what's possible. And I said, well, what do you have for a budget? And they said, well, really, next to nothing. And at that time, the whole fiasco was going on with the Pawtucket Red Sox, with a lot of musicians being asked to play for free. And it was just this huge uproar of, multi-millionaires asking lowly, poor artists, starving artists to come play for the, proverbial exposure,
Oh, yeah.
So it was a very touchy subject at the time. But I said, well, look, I have this whole network of artists who, have been very loyal to me in the cause of ending hunger. And I said, if we make this the cause of the event and bring the Johnny Cake Center of Peacedale, who have a new name and a new brand we can talk about. At the time, it was Johnny Cake Center of Peacedale on board as a charity partner. I said, I can ask my network of musicians who might want to come play for the cause. And they were like, yeah, baby, we will totally get on board with this cause. You're right on the money. This is something we want to embrace. So I did a little homework. I put a call out, and lo and behold, man, my people stepped right up, and I have a waiting list of people that want to play this event, and I want to say this right up front, that all these musicians are playing at least 2 hours every Thursday night, nine weeks all summer, for the cause of supporting the Johnny Cake Center and our ongoing food drive. Now, not all of them are one of 52 members. We don't make it a prerequisite. And in our time together today, maybe I'll explain what the one of 52 Hunger Network is, because people
Absolutely.
always say, what the heck is that?
Mm-hmm.
But most of them, 98% of them, are members of my network. And the other 2% don't quite get that they're already doing what I asked them, so they should just join anyway. So life is funny. But it's a beautiful thing. Every Thursday, all summer long, we have the braziers out in the middle of the Saugatucket River. Beautiful, beautiful environment. We play in a gazebo that juts out over the river, and it's called Sari Sanctuary, and it's dedicated to a young lady who unfortunately passed at a very early age of cancer. And it's just a magical place and a magical event. Everybody who plays this gig, and when the sunset comes around and the fires come up and you're on that stage, it's like, wow. It's so magical. So people that play it want to keep playing it, and I have to try to be fair to everybody and rotate out as many acts as possible. But I'll tell you, these people would come back year after year to play this gig for the cause, and because I asked them to.
No, that's outstanding. So you've got live music. I know that on certain nights you've had some theater people there. You tell us about the local shopkeepers, the artisans. This is really bringing out in one night every week I'll call it the Wakefield Peacedale community in a manner that is tough to do these days, between the pandemic, between just the hectic nature of life, particularly if you're an artist and artisan, if you're a musician. It's we all live the sort of the gig life, as they call it now, right? We've all managed to cobble together a bunch of different existences that when it's brought together in this manner have tremendous meaning. So we got musicians. Tell us about some of the other folks who are involved.
Yeah, you mentioned, we'll start with the Contemporary Theater Company, which is right across the river from where the stage that I run is. And Chris Simpson is just a force to be reckoned with right down there, right in the heart of the community, literally the heart of the community. Chris Simpson, who's obviously WVA member and used to actually be the president of the WVA, he runs his stage, which is a beautiful out stage right on the river. Also, you can view the river fire from his stage from 8 to 10. He does a whole cabaret thing over there, and it's just major entertainment. His whole troupe pulls together and they do music, acting, improv, just, the whole experience you'd expect from a theater. And so we go from 6 to 8 on the Sorry Sanctuary stage. As soon as we stop at 8, his contemporary theater stage starts up at 8 to 10. Then one of the major vendors and restaurants down there, that's a mover and shaker, Kenny Tetzner, who runs Phil's Main Street Grill down there, which is a major landmark. Anybody says, where can I meet you? It's meet me at Phil's,
Mm-hmm.
He usually has entertainment when allowable, of course, these days with everything that's going on up on his deck. He's got this beautiful upstairs restaurant and venue, open air. So, from 6 to 8 is our stage, 8 to 10 is the contemporary theater stage, and then usually like 10 to midnight or so, he's got great things going on, great food and drinks. And we have all the shops up and down Main Street that are just all unique boutiques. And then we have about approximately 20 vendors that line the river and also Main Street with all artisan products, and just a lot of nonprofits come down and share their information with us. And so they're there pretty much for the duration. They actually start earlier. They start around 4 and go up. Pretty much many of them hang in until 10.
Right.
And so it's a real love fest going on down there, Pat.
So, and this redefines family friendly, doesn't it? I mean, you've
really
got
does, and
stuff for all ages.
we really do. We got we're trying to pull off a kids activities area, as you might have seen in the commercial there. It's been a little hit or miss, but we will definitely, the times we did it, it was a huge success. So we'll be definitely rolling that out. We had Miss New England come on down and person the table for us, and she was very gracious, working with all the kids, doing painted rocks and stuff. And we hope to have her back again. We're pet friendly. You might have seen some of the videos, all kinds of pets going around, and talk about a love fest. The dogs all get along, the people all get along, and all I could think about all the time while I'm there is that Louis Armstrong song where I see skies of blue, people saying how are you, and you can literally walk across that bridge that connects the two sides of the river and just watch it live and in person, and that song taken from music to reality.
Yeah. Contemplate all of that for a moment and then factor in what I think is the final piece of magic here. And, I'm a big believer in voluntarism and volunteering. And astonishingly enough, this entire event is free and open to the public. And the
The Wakefield Village Association basically subsidizes the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And the only ask, and it's an ask, is that you do what? What do folks in your organization ask, and the emphasis ask that you bring?
It's your classic food drive. We put out bins in at least 2 locations, one right on Main Street and one down near the bridge. So we have signage. So at first we, pulling it together, and people were bringing food, and they're like, hey, where do we put this food? So we've really upped our game as far as the bins and the signage, and people can bring non-perishable food items to benefit the Johnny Cake Center of Hope. They've recently rebranded. They have changed. They have a new location in the Peacedale area. And as you mentioned, we're really a multi-location village happening. We welcome folks from all over Southern Rhode Island and all over the state, but we're focused on Wakefield, but we have members from every village in South County. And it's everybody from the most small mom and pop operation all the way up to corporations. one of our sponsors, Orson and Brasini Law Firm, right on Main Street, right across from where we do the whole River Fire thing. And they've stepped up a couple of years in a row, helping to once again subsidize any expenses we do have. And the Johnny Cake Center of For Hope, sorry, I got to get their name right, is run by Kate Brewster, who used to run the Poverty Center of Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, Kate has got it going on over there. She's really grabbed the reins of that organization. They're now partnering with the Welcome Center, which is a homeless organization right in that same neighborhood. They have their own multiple events. They have one coming up, Breaking the Waves of Hunger. Everybody should go to their website at johnnycakecenter.org and learn about these events and how you can help the Johnny Cake Center. And, you know, we've been talking about ending hunger for many years. It's really about food security and creating food secure communities. And they are right at the forefront of it.
Right. And to focus on them, this is an organization that's been around since literally the mid 70s. Coming up on its 50th anniversary, strongly tied in to the food bank and a number of large organizations, and serve a number of purposes, not the least of which, as they mentioned on their website, is with respect and dignity firmly in place to deliver food and resources, basic needs, to people in the community who are suffering. And so they are sort of if you donate to a number of food organizations and or hopefully now the Johnny Cake Center, they are really the boots on the ground that support that entire community. And I think we've all grown up in the last 10, 15 years and have come to understand that food insecurity, and I guess that's the new word for it, right, Steve? But food insecurity, homelessness, shelter, the cost of housing has taken a lot of folks who are on that verge, if you will, and in some cases pushed them over it. So
yes,
we face a lot of challenges here in Rhode Island, and the true nature of Rhode Islanders, forget about all the crazy stories about the politics and this and that, but the true nature of Rhode Islanders is that we take care of our own. Rhode Island is not just a state.
Yes.
It is not just a community. It's almost tribal in its existence. I knew I was a Rhode Islander. I'm a transplant. Well, I've been here over 30 years, but I've still got about 20 or 30 to go before I'm legit, right?
As am I.
Right. But if you go down to New York or any one of those places we all used to be from at some point, and you pass over exit 93 and from Stonington into Rhode Island, and the first time you feel this sort of sense of relief and peace and tranquility that you're home. And then you realize, oh my God, mm-hmm. I'm a Rhode Islander.
You know? And I think 30 years is the cutoff. You got to be in Rhode Island at least 30 years.
I think you're right. And it's funny. I have daughters, and they're both in their 20s, and one of them lives in one of those faraway cities. It's about 100 miles away, right? But she came home the other night, and you could see she was home. It was. And it's. I don't know if it's in the water, if it's in the gene pool. It just happens to us. But we are ultimately a tribe here. We are all ultimately in support of each other. Talk about just, if you will, the Johnny Cake Center. What some of the things it does in terms of food, its volume. Just give us a sense of what that organization means to that community.
Yeah, they are, as you say, firmly entrenched in the community. They also have a wonderful thrift store, so you can not only donate monetarily and food, but you can also donate goods, and that's all spelled out on their website. And I'm also very involved with the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. We've had these conversations many times because I do a lot of hunger events and a lot of food drives, that it's like they're an affiliate organization of the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, so They have this synergy where they actually can purchase food at a very reduced rate from the food bank. Mm-hmm. But when we do food drives in the community, they actually say it's great, and they encourage us to bring the food directly to the local food pantries. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, if I raise cash at big events, it goes directly to the Rhode Island Community Food Bank, because for every dollar you bring them on a statewide basis, they can purchase approximately $7 worth of food.
Right.
Certainly the Johnny Cake Center loves donations, and occasionally we will bring them cash money. But the Rhode Island Community Food Bank is just so tickled pink that we do these drives in the community and get the food directly to the Johnny Cake Center. They have a separate facility where they bring the food in, they process it, they inspect it, make sure it's not outdated food. And please keep that in mind too when you're donating. Buy a little bit extra maybe when they do the 10-for-1 things at the grocery store, and set some aside for the Johnny Cake Center or any other food pantry. But just don't make sure you're not just going in your pantry and grabbing some outdated goods. But none of you out there would do that, of course, because you're Pat's audience and you're all caring people.
Now, if, by the way, the website for the Johnny Cake Center is, Johnny. Now, again, you got to be a Rhode Islander to get this, but it's JONNY cakecenter.org. And I'm just looking through the Get Help section. By the way, the very little documentation is needed. It's not an intrusive process. A passport, a license, a utility bill, maybe. If you've got little ones, just a little bit of basic information on them. It's all on the website. But in addition to food, there are bridges, if you will, between rental issues, landlords. There are resources to be had, both spiritual, if you will, in the terms of the assistance necessary to work through the system. There's also some financial assistance available. And I know that community outreach organizations are fundamental involved with this emergency relief assistance that's being offered by the federal government and by Rhode Island Housing. And by the way, folks should, if they're in that situation where they find themselves short on rent, and this has been a tough year for everybody. RIhousing.com has got a lot of information about how to apply for help there, based on the federal dollars that have very recently landed. And I know they're working through some logistical issues to get the dough, if you will, out to the streets, but it's there, and if people can hang on. And again, this is where working with an organization like the Johnny Cake Center comes on, because they've got financial coaching available. They've got, there's a variety of services that they can act on your behalf and are willing to do so. And, classes, clothing, it's a resource. There's a lot of folks out there who, and Steve, I think you and I know a lot of them, and we've all been close to that ourselves, but after a year and a half ago, never would have imagined that they'd find themselves in the position they are right now through events that were no fault of their own. Small business owners.
Exactly.
Go ahead, buddy.
It's a great point. We can't really become complacent because there's a lot of great things going on out there right now. No matter which side of the political spectrum you fall on, there's some great news happening with the new child tax credits. And people will benefit from this, and it will help alleviate some hunger and poverty. However, the folks that are still falling through the safety net are going to fall hard. And it's those that, don't quite qualify for this, that, and the other thing that are really going to need our help big time in the near future. Right. So I see this as an opportunity for us to, yes, things are improving, and there may be less people that need help, but those people that need it all the more desperately. So let's focus and help the things that are going great, but also help and focus on the things that we know need our attention. Because even if we were to basically eliminate poverty in America, eliminate hunger, there will always be some sort of need. National emergencies, national atrocities, and people that just fall through the safety net. So we'll always need to take care of those that are the least amongst us.
Now, to that end, you have, and we've talked about this a couple times over the years, but let's start from scratch in respect to your organization that you've developed and the approach that you've developed for folks to help each other out, for Rhode Islanders and elsewhere to help each other out. Talk about 152.
We started in Rhode Island back in 1988. So we've been at this a long time. And, I grew up being inspired by the George Harrison, the Bangladesh concerts, Ravi Shankar, all through the years, Bob Geldof, We Are the World, Michael Jackson, Live Aid. And I looked at these things with my jaw, down to here. And I knew, even though you want to think positively, that I would positively never be able to pull off something as massive as Live Aid.
Right.
And then I came to the realization, nor really what I want to or need to. I mean, these folks have done it and they've done it so well. I'm sure these things will keep happening and happen again, but I probably won't get there. But that's okay. So I thought, well, what can I do? So why not have something on a much more grassroots level where people from all walks of life can use their talents to take action? So we came up with this concept of the 1 of 52 Hunger Network. Started based around music and obviously inspired by the connection between music and hunger that George and the Rabbi started so many years ago, 50 years ago now. And then all up through the years, like say Harry Chapin, all these wonderful, wonderful people. But now we're at the point where they're going to do their thing, and whatever happens on that level, great. But we need something a little bit more grassroots where everybody can participate. So what we ask is people to consider taking at least a minimum of one action in 1 week of the year to help end hunger in their community. And the actions can be so simple, like just asking people to bring non-perishables to your gig, your next gig. If you do that once a year, boom, you're a 1 of 52 member, and you literally become one of 52 others in your community, all taking action, all working to help end hunger. And we do ask for an annual action, but it's very simple, once a year. Some people in our organization go way, way beyond that. We have a concert coming up with my good friend Chikula, and he does it 365 days a year. But we have everything from that to everything in between, where folks kind of adhere to that 1 week of the year. One of my very dearly departed friends, Ted Donovan, used to do it on his birthday every year so that he wouldn't space it out. He would know that on his birthday, he was going to do his 1 of 52 gig. So we've been doing that for a very long time. I certainly came to realize that it's charity work always has to continue. However, I'm a business person. I know that we need to really go beyond charity and address the root causes of hunger by helping to improve the local economy. So I've been doing like a twofold thing, continuing to grow the 1 of 52 Hunger Network and also lobbying to help improve our economy, specifically by improving the tourism environment in Rhode Island, because it's these tourism and hospitality jobs that are most likely to hire folks up from hunger and poverty. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch. If you can't work, we're there for you. If you need work, we're also going to try to create that work for you.
Right. And it's such a huge part of the South County life experience. What's fascinating to me about this, by the way, is that all of your events incorporate folks who are year-rounders, full-time Rhode Islanders, and many of them full-time residents of South County or the island. And so, which is fascinating because people come from around the world come to visit Rhode Island. And very often I've kind of felt this out-of-body experience. You go visit a tourist area, and you dine at the local restaurant, and you go to the local beach, and you spend some money, and you see all these people, and you kind of wonder what they're like. When they're not there smiling at your hand, and then you chow or beer at one of South County's many fine adults drinking establishments. I, of course, am a Rhode Island lifelong fan, if you will, of a certain restaurant / tavern perilously perched on the, if you will, of the sandy reef of Misquamicut, Rhode Island. And of course, I'm talking about the Ocean Mist, or if you're a South County person, the O-Mist. But you wonder what these people, these folks that you're around intimately for about a week, and then you leave. What are these folks' lives really like? What's it like to live in a place like South County, where you've got, where for a number of people, fishing fishing boats aren't some sort of anachronistic, if you will, emblem or something on a T-shirt or something to take a selfie in front of. You know, down in Galilee, those boats are the real deal. That's how people make their living, or sometimes don't. You know, it's the folks who are working in the restaurants, and the event that's held every Thursday night, the River Fire, is quite frankly a chance to meet folks, because you have the real Peacedale, Wakefield, Wickford, that whole stretch of 1A, right? That for many people is just sort of a seen out of a postcard. These are the people who live there. These are the people who are year round. These are the people whose lives are invested in these communities. So if you're not from there, here's a chance to really get to know people who live there. It's a unique opportunity.
Exactly. Of course, many of my events are focused around that area.
Mm-hmm.
But we started in Rhode Island, and we're actually up and running in multiple states now with groups of 1 of 52. Started in New York, Florida, and
really?
New York, and many other areas. Yep, we've expanded the scope. And, you know, various levels of participation. Chikula happens to live in Florida now, so he's always down there being a rabble-rouser and beating the bushes and getting people involved. But my dream is that eventually all 50 states will have this core network of 52, each representing one of the weeks of the year, each taking action to help the cause.
Well, we've had some challenging news over the last couple of days, you know, about flare-ups and what's happening on Block Island. You really need to get down this week or next week. You know, you've got a couple of more weeks of this. When does River Fire end? How many more weeks do you have? And what are some of the featured activities that are going to happen at each one?
We go right through August 19th, every Thursday night. We started on June 24th. Mm-hmm. And just real quick, some of the folks that have helped us out big time, Dr. Bender's Rhythm Army, the Police Collective played the first gig, did a wonderful job. We got rained out the next week, unfortunately. Then we had the Strat Tones with my friend Jason Colonies, longtime 1 of 52 member. On the 15th of July, we had Poor Man's Gibson and Gooseberry Road. And let's face it, some of these names you may not know, but these are folks that deserve getting to that stage and having people know them. These Gooseberry Road is one of those. You know, you mentioned people in the trenches for all these years. They actually put out a food basket at every one of their shows. You gotta love them for it. The clip you played was from my friend Gary Hopp and friends, outstanding musicians. They did an unbelievable show next week. Next week is by George and my friend Russ Partridge, who's the executive director of the Warm Shelter in, excuse me, Westerly. Following week is on August 5th, there's Paula Clare and Richard Ribb, great duo. The opening slot is Paul Colombino, wonderful musician. On August 12th, there's a local rock band. They do one of my favorite songs, Darkness, Darkness by the Youngbloods. I just love it. They play it again this year. I'm going to request it. And then on the last gig, August 19th, is Chikula and Friends. And he has his friend up from Florida, William Metz, playing with him. And we also have a very special guest. You guys should Google, if you don't already know, Grant Malloy Smith. He's like a local man, done good. He's originally from Wakefield, and he's now a Grammy-winning songwriter and artist and children's book writer. This guy is amazing, multi-talented, 1 of 52 member. And this event on August 19th is called Singing Out for Food. And that's what Chikula calls his actions. And he drives around in a cool hunger bus, and he's bringing the hunger bus into Wakefield for that gig. Mm-hmm. So really exciting. You know, you got to come on down. And then the rest of the events over at the Contemporary Theater Stage from 8 to 10, we have Wakefield Idol. They're doing a whole show based around the winners of their Wakefield Idol that they do every year. And just some wonderful people doing some wonderful things.
Now, it sounds amazing. I'm hoping to get down there one Thursday, just do a little bit of a live stream from there and try and catch the spirit and a little bit
That'd
of
be great.
little bit of the background of what's happening. Let's, as we kind of bring the evening to close, let's engage in what we lovingly refer to in the coalition as shameless self-promotion. So first off, again, website, how can folks, if they're coming through town or they hear about this, we're going to do our best to promote it. How can folks find out a good spot to get information on Riverfire?
If they go to Facebook and just search on Wakefield Riverfire or the Wakefield Village Association, we're very unique in those names, unlike the other big fire thing that goes on elsewhere in the state. They'll come right to it. All the events are listed up there, all the events that I just ran by you just now. And 1 of 52 Hunger Network, you can't get much more unique in that name than that. So just go on Google and search on 1 of 52 Hunger Network. We do have a website that describes everything, but I've been really depending on Facebook for my events. So
Right.
if you want to know how to become a 1 of 52 member, go to 1of52.net. That's the numbers 1, the word of, the numbers 52.net. And that'll describe how to become a 1 of 52 member. And go to Facebook and just search on 1 of 52 events, and you'll come right to our page. You'll learn about we've just re-released our Time Is Now CD, which is a wonderful compilation of music that we sold. We produced 1,000 CDs. We sold approximately half of them and gave the other half away. But now you can go on the website and on the Facebook page, listen to the music. And if you want to donate, out of the goodness of your heart, you can donate to the hunger organizations we have listed there, or your favorite hunger organization. Leave it very open-ended. And the artwork for that was done by Johnny Fuzek, local longtime 1 of 52 member. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that he has his Rhode Island Folk Festival coming up at a new venue over in East Providence near the Louvre Carousel.
Mm-hmm.
It's at Bullocks Avenue in East Providence.
Yep.
August 29th. Once again, doing a food drive there. When you go to the 1 of 52 Hunger Network, you'll see my friend Glenn Dool, once again, longtime 1 of 52 member. He's got an event coming up at Java Madness. And let's see, I can find that in 2 seconds here. That's on August 5th, which is a holiday in Rhode Island. Very strange holiday. It's I guess it's still called VJ Day. It's got some wonderful musicians. Paula Clare is playing there, who is also at Riverfire in 2 weeks. And then the big event, the last one of the season, August 19th, is listed on our Facebook page too.
Excellent.
And Pat, this kind of promotion is invaluable. So thank you very much for spreading the word.
Well, listen, Steve, needless to say, just keep us in the loop. We've reconnected now. It's been a crazy couple of years, so we've reconnected. Just keeping us in the loop. We're happy to use our little Rhode Island voice to amplify anything that you're doing. I want to stress, there's when we do these shows, we're not political. We keep it 100% positive. There's folks that I've met out in the charity world, and there's folks like Steve. The integrity here of the people that he's involved with, as well as himself personally, you're looking at someone who's got a lifelong investment, if you will, in the community that we refer to as South County. And by the way, anyone who listens from out of state and looks for South County on the Rhode Island map, there is no such thing as South County.
You won't find it. It's the mythical tourism district.
It's like Rhode Island. It's just Cordova. When I leave Rhode Island, I think it ceases to exist. This is all
not on Long Island.
Yeah, this is work of a few thousand fervid imaginations. Yikes! But again, there's folks that you're going to meet in Rhode Island. There's just the integrity, the work, the folks who aren't looking for an attaboy, who simply channel, like my friend Steve, every opportunity that they get to promote, to engage in shameless self-promotion of the work that they engage in, and seek
Say that
neither
5 times fast.
seek neither personal nor refracted glory. It's simply all about getting the work done. And I think we can all agree in Rhode Island that there's just an endless amount of work to be done. So let's get to work. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. Again, keep us in the loop on everything. We'll try our best to do what we can to spread word up here in the North Country of Rhode Island. I mean, you and I must live at least 20 miles apart from each other, right? Jeez. I mean, the state. Yeah, a state that's smaller than the city of Los Angeles, and yet somehow it's unique to Rhode Island. Somehow we get involved in our own little burbs and our own little lives, and but it's great. Listen, for the time being, at least we've got it's open season for Rhode Islanders to engage in the ritual that Rhode Islanders engage in, and one of them clearly needs to be heading down to South County and supporting organizations like Steve's. Steve, we'll be in touch, and I'll be at this week. I'll get a hold of you, and we'll figure out a time I can come down and do a little live stream and sort of spread the love up here to the northern climes.
Well, I'm pretty much at the stage on the river from 6 to 8 o'clock. I'm glued to that stage. This week, I'm actually bringing my own PA system and running the PA, so I might be a little busy, but always make time for you, my friend.
All right, buddy. God bless. Steve Maciel. Now we're talking a couple of things here tonight. We're talking about River Fire, which occurs every Thursday night. Some of the earliest proceedings in terms of vendors starts at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We already have information up on the site and on the Facebook page, so we'll continue to share that. And it runs till about 10 or so at night. And there's ample opportunities to spend all sorts of time with families of literally every age, size, whatever, in the greater Peacedale, Wakefield area. Please bring along, make a stop at the BJ's or the Costco, and pick up a couple of things, and that's the price of admission. Pick up some canned food products. More information about what they need on the website on Johnny Cake and also the 1 in 52, and also there's some suggestions there, but bring along just some of the basics, and know that you'll become part of a community that's larger than yourselves, a bigger part of Rhode Island, and at the same time help people that you'll never even meet. Folks, we are the Coalition, loud and proud, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media, broadcasting live on the worldwide Coalition Radio Network. Facebook.com/The Coalition Radio. On the Mighty Mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio. This ends our broadcasting for this evening. Tomorrow, Wednesday night, is the big night. 7 o'clock. Ramp, Real Access Motivates Progress. Ramp had a very special show that we're going to be playing in repeat this morning at 11 o'clock. Both Governor Dan McKee and Lieutenant Governor Matos joined Tina Gaudette Peterson on the air to talk about access issues and the challenges of having physical challenges in the Ocean State. It was a great conversation. That'll be on at 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock, Chaz Kalenda, attorney at law, and we're either going to go the Pawtucket route tomorrow night at 9 when things get a little bit serious and a little steamier in terms of civil disobedience, civil engagement, and, changing our own little world here in Rhode Island. Folks, stay safe tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you tomorrow.